What's up, guys? This is going to be a little video about 380 versus 9mm for self-defense or whatever. Um, both these rounds have had plenty of controversy, and some people say one's inadequate. Some people like the 9mm, but just say the 380 is inadequate. I'm not an expert on the subject, but I've done enough research and things like that where I have a pretty good opinion. Anyway, I guess we'll start off with the 9mm, which is the larger caliber. It's our military sidearm, and of course you'll hear about military people saying it's not as powerful, but it does the job decently, and they don't use hollow points. And if you don't know much about hollow points, this is just a Remington hollow point. When the bullet hits, it expands a time and a half the size of the diameter it's originally the full metal jacket will do, and it also lets all the energy from the impact absorb into the body or whatever's hit the target that you hit, creating a much greater wound cavity, hitting with a lot more force. And I could see where it's inadequate as a full metal jacket, but you're almost hitting with twice the power when you use a hollow point. So I think the 9mm is suitable. The larger the caliber, the better, until you get into until you start thinking about high capacity, and that's another reason that's good about the 9mm. They're high capacities. If they're still concealed carry, they're coming out with good choices now, like the LC9 and the smaller Glocks are pretty good. In various calibers. I don't really consider them good pocket guns. The LC9 it's borderline pocket gun. The 709 Slims, stuff like that. The PM9s. Anyway. And also another thing, nobody really complained about the knockdown that was getting used in World War II by the Germans with the Lugers, and it was getting used with the in the MP40s and everywhere else over the world. The Makarovs, the Tokarovs, the Tokarovs are pretty hot round, but it's kind of been used for a while. Browning high powers. Anyway. Now the 380 is a decent round. 380 is a 9mm short, which in Italian is called a 9mm corto, and corto means short. And I think in German. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. They call it 380 Kurz or Cruz or something like that. CRUZ, and that means short. So, but if you compare the ballistics of the 380, it has almost identically the same ballistic performance as a 38 Special. And the 38 Special is a widely known range that our country has used for many years. It served many police forces. Turn of the century FBI agents used to carry it. It wasn't known as the best man stopper, but it did the job good enough. But the 380 is still carried today by many. It was an officer's gun in World War II by the Germans and a lot of people. The Italians carried, I don't know what their main sidearm was, but I know they at least carried a version of the 380. German military police carried the Walthers and stuff like that, and the Walthers were also chambered in 32, but there's also 380s. That's the James Bond gun, was a Walther, but I think for the most part there was either 32s or 380s. But it's been a pistol for many years that many people have felt safe packing, and it's proven itself to be a decent small sidearm. It's the smallest caliber that most people will carry. You know, and all. But see, here's where the difference really is in the size of the gun and how you want to carry it. That's what really makes the difference. If you're going to go with a full size, I'm an advocate of packing the biggest caliber that you feel comfortable with shooting. If the recoil doesn't bother you, a 50 cal, then, you know, and the capacity's right, then maybe that's for you. Personally, me, it'd be a little too big, but 45 is kind of where I draw the limit. But anyway, full size. If I'm gonna go with a full size gun, I'm gonna at the very least, go for 9mm. It's a bigger round and it has high capacity. That's the only reason why I would even attempt going with maybe a 9mm, because the capacity. This one holds 18 shots, 17 plus 1 in the tube. This right here, I think it holds 7 rounds. Yeah, 7 rounds, 6 plus 1. Anyway, the Bersa used to be, when it comes to decent sized pistols, besides the micro pistols, was way to go. But now with the LC9s and everything like that, these aren't the world's best. But if you like the gun, you like the feel of it, I say maybe go with a Bersa or a Walther. It just depends on how you feel about the gun. And plus, these are pretty affordable, and they're good shooting guns. But one thing that makes the 380 a great caliber is because it can be extremely concealable with the little micros like the TCP by Taurus, the LCP, everything like that. That's where your benefit comes from the 380. And plus, but if I was going to use either or, and especially the 380, I would shoot nothing more than hollow points out of it. You really want to get as much as possible. And right now it's got Hydra shocks. That's all they had. I would consider going with a Corbon or a Critical Defense by Hornady. That's my favorite round. But you do want to shoot a box or two. I would say at least 2 boxes out of your gun to make sure they cycle good. There's plenty of other ones, but those are two. Whenever it goes to cert, that's what I normally try to pick up. They're really good ammo. I guess that's about all you have to say about the. But the reason also I wouldn't go with a full size 380, just because the recoil isn't much different. All women will be able to hand a 9mm unless you're, you know, have hand problems or you're up in the age or something like that, to where, you know, maybe it's a 22 or something should really be it, or something like that. But all women should be able to handle these no problem. They don't have a lot of kick. But the smaller micro guns are snappy, and by snappy means it's not gonna kick back on you. It's just where your hand doesn't have a lot of purchase. And it's such a small gun with such a small barrel, it's gonna snap up on you like that. The reason why I wouldn't go with a full-size gun is the capacity. Yeah, 9mm is a lot cheaper to shoot. It's got more ballistic and velocity, you know, more knockdown. Ammo is a lot easier to get, so there's really no sense in going with a full-size 9mm. And plus, you're probably not going to get much more capacity by 380, because they're the exact 380s. Another thing, 380s, 9mm, 38 specials, 357 magnums, they're all the same size. They're all 38s and they're all 9mm. They're just it's thundering outside if you can hear that. But they're all just kind of labeled a little different for, you know, selling their round, so it don't get confusing, I guess. But alright guys, thanks for watching.